friends and family of Team Newman and Team VetCor, I just want to welcome you to today's activation ceremony for the first franchisee in Florida. I just want to very quickly introduce a 30-year-long friend of mine and our fearless leader of Team VetCor, the president and CEO, Paul Huzar.
Hey, thanks, Scott. So again, thanks and welcome to all the friends and family. And when I say friends and family, it really is. I could say team, but friends and family is probably a better description of Newman and VetCor. Thanks for being here and supporting us now, in the past, and really in the future. Just want to let you understand, kind of from my voice, what our vision is for VetCor. And that's really twofold. It's to become the preeminent brand known for timely, quality, reliable service, and the value of veterans. So you don't have to be a veteran to do that, but you have to understand and subscribe to those same types of values, which it's clear to me that everyone here does. And then the second part of that is, in the grand scheme of things, is to become the number one private employer of veterans throughout the United States. And this is just our first step in that journey, but it's part of a vision, and it's great to see it finally start to come through. When we think about this, we've had a little bit of history together. Newman was probably the Newman family and team was probably our first supporter, and our first advocate, and our first really big brother in assisting us grow VetCor into what it is today, and then beyond. And interestingly enough, when Jason and I first met, we met through my partner David Howard. We also realized we had a bit of a shared path, being both engineer officers. And it turns out that Jason came to the engineer school when I was the director of training out there. So it really is just a natural fit for us. So we eagerly welcome the Newman family and team to become part of this vision now, as you grow the rest of your families of companies here as well, but really to fulfill our mission, which is to create even more sustainable and meaningful employment opportunities for our nation's heroes. Moving forward, sustaining this legacy of service that we have, that you all have and have had as a company, and that we'll have together as an enterprise and a franchise system. The other thing we're doing is we're leading by example, showing American companies what right looks like with respect to honoring our nation's heroes. And by having a successful company and successful brand, all we're doing is perpetuating that. And then people ask us why are we so successful? Well, don't tell anybody. The name of the company is VetCor. We hire veterans. And when I say we hire veterans, it's the quality of people. And again, it's about the value of veterans, the values that we all share. So it's great to have you all here and sharing those values. I just want you to think about for a second, when's the last time you all had a service provider come to your own home of any kind, right? Whether it's the cable guy, the air conditioning repairman, when did they tell you they were going to be there? Typically I hear a response, well, it's a 4-hour window, and then they show up an hour late and they don't call. And so for us, it's just contrary to our DNA, right? For a veteran and those who share those similar values, showing up on time is late because early is on time. And then we show up fit, polite, in uniform, treating people with dignity and respect. And that's a brand that's easy to sell, right? So when you show up on time, automatically you made a big impact to the customer that we're serving. Now I want you to imagine, spring forward, and envision a time where here we are like we had with Hurricane Irma, right? Or a disaster anywhere for that matter in the United States. And imagine what a franchise system of networked companies who are continually improving, imagine what that looks like. Commanded, controlled by people who are ready to make organization out of chaos on a daily basis. And that really, frankly, just excites me, and that's why I'm excited to get ready to get going. And so let's do this. Let's get going. Let's get started, because we're results oriented, and we won't want to delay this any further. I will leave you with this. In the Army, there's a saying, mission first, soldiers always. And so we steal a lot of our culture's norms and values from the military. So with VetCor, we say our mission first, but our veteran teammates, their families, our customers, and our clients always as well. So with that, veteran strong, VetCor strong, and all the way. Let's go.
All right, it's no mystery to any of you that the armed forces is steeped in tradition. And some of those traditions, we would be remiss if in our company culture we didn't celebrate some of those. The tradition that we're going to celebrate today has to do with the military style guidon. The guidon is a flag type emblem which depicts the designation and affiliation of a particular military unit. And the guidon concept has been around since 1834 with the very first cavalry units, the mounted cavalry units. The guidon bearer would be next to the commander of that unit in the front of the formation, showing that guidon which depicted their unit and their affiliation, whether it be cavalry or army or whatever the affiliation would be. That is very much the tradition that we are going to exercise here today. The guidon, I would like to think that the concept for the guidon was to allow opposing forces to know exactly who was coming to kick their butts. All right? Because, although, combat in and itself is violent, all right, it would be a common courtesy to let them know who's coming. And although we're violent, we're also polite. All right? So that kind of is important. The concept of the ceremony, there are opening ceremonies or the activation ceremony for a unit or a deactivation for the unit. All right, in today's activation ceremony, we will present and unveil the guidon for the very first franchisee for Florida, VetCor of San Antonio.
Cool.
The black and gold that you see on today's guidon resembles or is present to resemble the affiliation of the owner of the franchise, his affiliation to the United States Army. So pursuant to the franchise agreement that was signed between Team VetCor and Newman EMS Construction LLC, they are hereby awarded the franchise of VetCor of San Antonio.
Oh!